Alright, hey guys, we're doing a little video on the roadmap updates. We're trying to give these every 3 months to tell you where we're at and if we've missed any goals and what goals we're ahead of time on. So we did one of these last quarter to tell everyone how we were going, so we're going to do it this quarter as well. So I've got the roadmap on my phone here. It says September 30th, which is kind of Q3 this year. The first point is Loki Messenger Android, and I'm happy to report that's complete. So if you go to the Android store right now, or the Google Play Store,
It's still in beta.
Yeah, it's beta, but you can still search it up on the Google Play Store.
Point is, we got Loki Messenger out on the mainnet for Android and iOS, and that's been running for a couple months now, 3 months now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's one thing that we've done, I think, really quite well. The thing that the roadmap didn't describe is the sheer bulk of features that is involved in turning Signal into Loki Messenger, and then the additional features that we're building on top of that. So we've built public chat channels, a whole range of features to do with that. We'll have mentions in there pretty soon in the next week or so.
We have replies.
We've been working on multi-device syncing, like all these features that Signal just doesn't have. And that goes along with the re-engineering of the platform to suit the decentralized nature of what we're trying to do here as well. I don't think the roadmap really does a good job at describing that requires a lot of resources. Like 5 full-time developers are now working on Loki Messenger, mostly on the client side stuff. So that's been really, really intensive, and we're trying to roll out new features for that really quite intensively over the next quarter in Q4, and that really isn't described at all in the current roadmap, which is unfortunate. But we have a long laundry list of features that we want to put in there. We're also going to be doing a UI and UX overhaul as well, which again is not on the roadmap at all. So yeah, I think this video, like last time we did a video like this, is kind of a way of us saying, look, there is stuff on the roadmap. Some of it we've done, some of it's a lot bigger than others, and some of it we haven't done at all. For example, what do we got here? Loki name system. Haven't started on Loki name system yet because Doyle's been really busy with checkpointing, which is now about to be switched on. It's been running on the mainnet, but it's now about to be actually turned on in the 5.0 release, which is going to be happening very soon. And then Jason's been working really hard on Blink as well, which
actually the second point on Q3 is Blink. So that's currently about half done. So we have the communication framework, which is necessary for the quorums to be able to actually sign or lock key images early. So that's just been pull requested in, and I think it got merged yesterday. And we will be working on the actual locking of key images now. So we have some estimations, but I don't think it's going to be too long before that's actually finished. Maybe a month or two. We're expecting that to kind of come in Q4, if we were to give an estimation right now.
But at the moment, the core team is comprised of Doyle and Jason, who are fantastic engineers, and the amount of work that those guys do for the Loki blockchain is just immense. And while we did have Loki name system there in the roadmap for Q3, checkpointing took precedence, Blink took precedence, and a number of other features. So, I mean, while it was in there, it's actually not a very hard thing to do, and it will be produced probably within the next month. Would you say?
Yeah, a month to 2 months probably on the LNS timeline. The next 2 points are LokiNet onion key rotation and LokiNet RC expiration. So both of these changes have kind of taken a backseat to LokiNet stability, because we realized that, okay, well, it's cool to add some of these features to beef up the security of LokiNet, but if LokiNet isn't actually stable, then these features don't really matter. So we made an effort probably about I think it was starting like 8 months ago, where we really focused all of our LokiNet developers on improving stability on LokiNet, and that's actually been super successful. You can go and download the LokiNet testnet right now. I think it's 0.5.2, and it's super stable. I'm really not getting any crashes from it at this point. So it's getting to the point where we can actually deploy it on the service node network, which is much more important than these two.
I mean, last time we made a video like this, we were kind of explaining, look, everything's sort of hinging on LokiNet being ready, and it actually looks like we've managed to do that in the 3 or 4 months since that video. So we don't currently have a timeline for when it will go on the mainnet. There's still a couple of things that we need to do. We need to change the key format again, and a few other breaking changes, and then test that out as well. But once that's kind of done, we don't really see any further reason to continue putting off its deployment on the service node mainnet. So that should genuinely happen by the end of the year, which is something that we've been saying to a lot of people over the course of the year, but is actually looking like that is definitely going to happen now, which is really exciting.
The final point is LokiNet Android client, and that kind of goes in the same boat of stuff that we have kind of ignored in the face of stability changes being more important. But actually, last night I was on the LokiNet internal channels, and Jeff told me that LokiNet is now building on Android. So I don't expect it should be too long before Android is supported. Android is actually the much easier platform to support LokiNet on. It's kind of iOS where we're a little bit concerned about, Apple, like the Apple Store and the Apple platform and how we get integrated on there. We're less sure about that, but we also have put a lot of work into working out whether it's possible, and we think that it is possible.
We've designed a framework around how we can interface with the existing network extensions functionality inside iOS to make it happen. So a bit more resourcing there, and that should also happen relatively quickly, we think. But
so that finishes up with Q3, but do we want to talk about Q4 a little bit? Because I think that some of these goals are going to change, and it's important to talk about these. So I'll just reel these off quickly. So the first one's hardware wallet integration. Actually, I'll give an update on that. The foundation recently funded someone to work on the Ledger Bolos application, which is the application that runs on the Ledger device. And as far as I know, that part is actually finished right now. It's a fork of the Monero Bolos application. And from what we've heard from the person who's working on that, that's working. So what we need to do from now to get hardware wallet integration is we need to support it in the wallets as well, and the CLI wallet particularly. So that's going to take some work. I don't know whether that's going to be done in Q4 because there's a lot of things, like Loki Messenger is really going to start taking precedence over a lot of things, because we think that Loki Messenger is kind of the most interesting product to move forward on. So I would expect that in kind of potentially Q4, maybe Q1 of 2020, depending on how much time we can free up on the core side of things. We'll also be looking at implementing Pulse, the proof of stake proposal. So we might be a little bit thin on core developer time. So I'm apprehensive to promise that will be done in Q1, the hardware wallet stuff. Enforced service node testing. So actually, the blockchain testing part that's written about in the white paper, and the message storage part, that is actually in service nodes right now. It's in the Loki storage server. That's the part that's doing the testing. It's just not enforced yet. So pending stability on that, like pending that it deregisters the nodes that we expect it to deregister, there's nothing stopping us from turning that on. It's just basically we need to sit down and look at the statistics of who we believe should be kicked and who shouldn't, and make sure that they match up so that we're not, erroneously kicking some service nodes off for not doing anything. In-browser Loki wallet, LokiNet exit functionality, and iOS client. In-browser Loki wallet, I think that's going to be put off for a fair bit of time. LokiNet exit functionality, that's working right now. We just haven't released any of the exit nodes.
We won't be, when we put LokiNet on the mainnet by the end of this year, we will not be requiring that service nodes be exit nodes in this early stage. At this early stage, the main purpose that LokiNet being on the service node network will be used for will be for the messenger.
Yeah.
So there will be relays, but they won't actually be required to do any type of exit traffic. It'll all be running over snaps basically inside the Loki network. So that's kind of how that works, but there's nothing to stop people spinning up their own exit nodes and using the rest of the infrastructure to allow people to access the internet anonymously straight away. But we will be working on exit node functionality, ensuring its stability, devising clever schemes to incentivize service node operators to factor that into their operations. The next 6 months for us are looking pretty blocked out with features though. And I guess we can just kind of talk about the next 6 months, right? Like, what it's looking like we're going to be working on. So between now and Christmas time, we have a big laundry list of features to go into the messenger. This includes things like multi-device syncing, which to date has never been done in a decentralized messenger before, ever.
Small, medium, and large group chats, like kind of not federating, but like allowing people to self-host their own like public chat servers, having channels in chat servers. Like there's so many, and then there's all of the client stuff, like adding markdown support, adding React emojis, attachments, profile pictures. Like if you want to see the full list of things we're doing, go onto the Loki Messenger GitHub and go into the issues. We have like 60 issues there, which define like the priority when we think they're going to come, if they're in the October release, if they're in the next release. So you can kind of keep up to date with what we're doing on the Messenger side with features there, and you can suggest your own feature as well. If it's something that you see in another chat application, there's potential that it can be brought across to Loki Messenger as well. On
top of that, by the end of the year, the whole application is going to be overhauled in terms of user experience. It's also going to be overhauled in terms of branding as well, which is something that we haven't yet announced, but we will be announcing our plans for that fairly soon. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the community have already heard whisperings of that, because that's just how it works. But expect an exciting announcement soon regarding Loki Messenger and our plans for it next year. It's going to be a really, really huge year for Loki Messenger in particular. We really think that it will form the flagship product of Loki for 2020, and we hope that that's going to have some really good results in terms of generating some really strong user numbers. So between now and Christmas, Messenger is all about just getting more common features in that you see in other chat apps, so that by the end of the year, the user experience that people have when they open it up, it looks good, it feels good, and it behaves in an intuitive way to what people are already used to, but it also comes with additional client-side security features and, of course, the back-end security and anonymity features that the whole concept is based off, basically. So that's on the Messenger side. On the LokiNet side, basically just going to be a lot of polishing and cleaning. And
performance updates coming soon as well. So like reduce CPU load when relaying a lot of traffic. And there's also changes to multi-thread the cryptography part of things so that's all faster.
And then that will basically, by the end of the year, be launched on the service node network live. So that's what we're aiming for the end of the year, for end of Q4. For LokiNet, it's going to be launched on the mainnet, and there's a whole range of things that have to happen in order for that to happen. And then on the core side, we will have Blink done. We will have Loki name system done. And we will probably be a fair bit of the way into doing Pulse as well, our proof of stake concept, which we discussed the other day. We have a loose time frame of around February or March for launching that on the mainnet as well. So, and then after the new year, for LokiNet and for the Messenger, then that's when we start to roll out all of these extra features, like having a Loki wallet inside the Messenger app, for instance, will probably happen 2, 3, 4, 5 months after January. It really just depends on, because all of a sudden we're going to be launching this app on a real app store, and we'll have real users and real user feedback. So really, once that happens, the whole roadmap concept is going to become less relevant because we're going to have a lot of real-time data to work with to really make sure that the app that we've built, and we continue to iterate and improve it so that the user base actually gets a lot of value out of it, and we continue to grow the user base. So in terms of roadmap stuff, I mean, there's a lot of small things that go into making Loki Messenger a really successful app. So that's kind of where that is. But as far as Loki Net goes, there are some performance features, security features that we want to add. There are some user experience features that we want to add. We also recently started work on a graphical user interface for the Loki Net daemon itself, cross-platform, which is exciting. But we also want to make sure that it is working well on mobile as well. There's probably going to be a lot of optimization that has to occur there to save on battery and data. All of the product development that we've done over the last 2 years, that's been fantastic, and I think anyone will be able to see straight away that we've done really quite well in the efficiency and the outcome there in terms of what we've been able to produce. But now it is time to really make sure that we put a lot of focus and a lot of energy into building a user base, because that's really what's going to carry the project forward. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. That's sort of an update of the roadmap as it currently looks on the website, and an update about where we're headed over the next 6 months. So expect the roadmap to change in accordance with that, basically. And if you have any questions or concerns about that, you know where to find us. We hang out to the Discord a lot, Telegram a lot. And also, the Messenger group chat now would be a really good place to get some more traction going in. I think after the October release, once a few more features are out, I think I'm just going to stop trying to use other messaging apps just straight up. I'm really going to start trying to push for it in my own life, and I'd encourage everyone else to do the same. If we can move our community into the thing that we've actually built, and when there are problems with it, inevitably, then we are aware of them a lot faster and we get a lot more input to make it better. So come hang out in the Messenger group chats, basically. That'd be really great.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
See you next time.